Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
The National Emergency Management Agency is predicting widespread devastation across islands in the southern Bahamas.
Well, long lines in the capital as Bahamians are making their final preparations for Hurricane Irma.
Bahamians flocking to hardware stores for last-minute storm preparations.
Another young man loses his life here in the Mackey Street area.
Our news is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Vonique Tude. Topping news tonight as Irma hurtled towards the Bahamas, leaving death and widespread devastation in its wake. The entire country has been placed under hurricane warning, according to the National Hurricane Center, prompting the National Emergency Management Agency to activate its Emergency Operations Center. NEMA's director, Captain Stephen Russell, confirming today that hundreds of people decided not to evacuate, leaving them at the mercy of that monster storm. Jasmine Brown reports.
Russell says those who decided not to evacuate will suffer nightmarish conditions as they expect Irma will devastate those islands.
The diameter of the storm the hurricane is probably up to almost 500 miles. Tropical storm force winds extend up to the full diameter of about 500 miles. And the hurricane force winds up to last night, the diameter was probably 100 miles. So you have this monster of 500 miles in diameter moving along a certain parts.
According to the Department of Meteorology, Irma is forecast to remain a powerful Category 4 or 5 hurricane during the next few days. Storm surges and extensive to severe flooding are also being predicted as Irma is forecast to produce 8 to 12 inches of rain and storm surges of up to 20 feet. While New Providence is expected to feel the impact of Irma starting 6 p.m. on Friday, the extremely dangerous storm began pounding Inagua, Mayaguana, and Acklands this afternoon. NEMA evacuated just over 1,200 people from those 3 islands, as well as Crooked Island and Ragged Island yesterday. And with Irma forecast to pass dangerously close to Bimini, officials began coordinating an evacuation plan for those residents who will be flown to New Providence. Meanwhile, hundreds of residents on the southern islands elected to remain, according to Russell, who says approximately 170 people opted to ride out the storm in Inagua, 100 people remained in Acklands, and 70 residents remained in Mayaguana. Russell says at this point, all anyone can do is pray for the safety of those who decided to stick it out.
So really pray that they find somewhere really safe, those who choose to remain in those areas.
To make matters worse, Russell warns those residents could go without assistance for days until NEMA gives the all clear once the storm moves out of the area.
So from Thursday to Monday, probably even Sunday, Tuesday. Thursday to probably even Tuesday of next week. We may not be able, from New Providence, be able to respond to the islands that would have been impacted, because we have to wait until we get the all clear for the airport here at LPIA. To make sure that the airstrips in all the islands are clear to allow emergency flights to come in. We have to make sure that all of the harbors are clear for shipping to come into ports to offload relief material.
As for when those who evacuated can expect to return home, Russell was candid, saying Irma may render those islands uninhabitable.
We can almost expect devastation, catastrophic damage from a Category 5 crossing those islands, and there may be nothing remaining to go to. So as soon as all is clear, we're gonna try as best we can to do some rapid assessments, get into those areas and see what is standing.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
And as Irma hammers parts of the Caribbean, Bahamians rush to the Bahamas Red Cross Society today in search of storm essentials. April Sands takes it from here.
Anxiety and tension building now for Bahamians as they're doing their last-minute preparations for Hurricane Irma. Close to 100 people gathered outside the Bahamas Red Cross Society headquarters on John F. Kennedy Drive in the sweltering heat. Today, in hopes of securing storm essentials, including batteries, brooms, mops, flashlights, hygiene supplies, and even portable stoves. It was a chaotic scene as police officers attempted to keep the crowd calm and under control. Sonia Williams says she had been standing in line for 2.5 hours today. She says it was the confusion and heat that left her frustrated.
We understand they're trying to help us, but the sun is so long and you have the children out here. Yes, we want to speed it up that we'll be able to get something. Making us feel like you better be begging for something. Yes, we need it. But then we just hurry it up a little bit because of children. I came after everybody. I meet people here, but I pass this morning, drop my husband, I meet people on the slide in the airport this morning for 6 o'clock.
Deputy Director Brenda Lee Roll declined an on-camera interview, but told our news she understands why people are upset. She says their anxiety is only a result of the circumstances surrounding Hurricane Irma. She explained that the few volunteers stationed at their headquarters are trying their best to assist persons in a timely manner.
I feel like if George had 2 lines, one for the senior citizen instead of everybody jumping up on 1 line. Because I was out there from must be about 8 o'clock. I don't feel like it is organized right. So the senior citizen should have been on 1 line and getting served first. That's how I feel.
I think this process is wrong. What they should do, like how they only asking for the voter's card, right? Present your voter's card and you serve them from there. You understand? Because I think this what they doing now don't make no sense at all.
There were also a few disabled persons standing in line. However, they were eventually allowed to skip the line and go inside to collect their items. Meanwhile, Terrence Storr, who is a father of 2, says he's grateful for the help the Red Cross Society is providing, adding his family really needed it.
Everybody really, they know there's one coming. Like everybody is do everything last minute. They know that's coming, so everybody just a little scared of this right now. That's what I think it is. This a good little help for the people. Yeah.
And the Bahamas Red Cross will be open all day tomorrow, according to its deputy director, who says they are determined to ensure that they can help everyone in need. And the Red Cross Center isn't the only place packed today. ATMs, banks, grocery stores, and service stations also had long lines. Reporting for our news, I'm April Sands.
And it's crunch time for all those still trying to get their hands on much-needed hurricane supplies. Kyle Joaquin visited department stores to catch the last-minute rush.
Now here at Quality Home Center, they basically transformed the front of the store into a hurricane supply center. They have everything from battery-operated fans to flashlights, but the hottest seller is just over here where they're selling generators.
We've been selling for the last 2-3 days, generators.
They may be costly, but a lot of Bahamians apparently aren't willing to weather the storm without electricity this time around, following last year's disaster which saw some residents without power for weeks. Out of all the items in Quality Home Center, generators going for at least $800 were practically flying off the shelves.
And so we had generators starting as low as $799, all the way up as $1,800. And so
people are spending that.
Yeah, but the people are behind us saying no price on them. We don't even have time to put the price on them because as we bring them out, they're flying off the shelf. So right now, the cheapest we have left in stock right now is $11.99.
With the use of a generator comes the warning not to operate indoors or go outside during the storm to turn it on. And with Irma just hours away from the capital, it's crunch time for everyone getting their hands on last-minute supplies.
Well, right now I'm in here shopping preparing for the hurricane in the event that we have it worse than we think. So I'm just doing an extra stocking up and making sure that I'm prepared.
And over at CBS Bahamas, generators weren't the only hot seller.
We restocked on barrel bolts and latches. Yesterday we had a container come in and those items never made it to the store. They were out the container, straight to the cash register. We also had gas jugs. I forget to mention, we had another shipment of those that came in and they were out the container, straight out the store. Plywood we also had, and all gone. This one is a chain boat, but if you know the little thing that could latch across, a lot of people make their own shutters. They use the pallets that items would come on, and then they just put the barrel boat so it could latch in. Right.
And these were going like hotcakes.
Hotcakes. We're all out.
This is good timing. Everything is relaxed. I'm finding everything I need from the store. So it isn't a mad dash or a mad rush. Everything is moving quite smoothly.
With businesses raking in the bucks as people get in on that last-minute shopping, one company deep in the back of Arawak Key isn't concerned about a profit. Captain James Curling said he found it necessary to help those worried about flooding the best way he knows how, giving away free sand.
So far, I have supplied about 10,000 bags, and some people bring in their own bags. So in altogether, I think we would have done about 40,000 bags.
It's breathtaking. It's absolutely a breath of fresh air, and I feel relieved to know that there are people who are actually concerned about other people.
Reporting for our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
136 evacuees from Inagua, Acklands, and Cricket Island have settled in at the new Providence Community Center on Blake Road, which expects to house up to 250 people seeking shelter. Michael MP Miriam Emanuel says she's happy with conditions at the shelter, and so are her constituents.
The response of those persons who have evacuated from the Michael constituency, the report is that they're comfortable. They've been treated really great, and so far for them, this is a time for them just to say thank you to myself, the government, for such a moment task of evacuating them, and trust me, they're very grateful to be here. And so far, I'm pleased with the way they've been treated, and that's why as the Member of Parliament I came to just see their surroundings. It's clean, it's nice, the children are able to move about, and so far, no complaint.
And sure enough, those residents said they were nothing but grateful. This little boy said he couldn't be happier.
I feel that we could have more food and more bed for people to stay, and they have showers and stuff, and they have a playroom and a playground.
As our news spoke with Director for Social Services Leonard Cargill, he got a call from the Ministry of Tourism to make way for a family from Greece. While he agreed to accommodate the stranded family, he said the shelter is only set up for evacuees.
This center was set up to receive persons from the southern islands of the Bahamas.
Okay.
So that's why we're here.
Other families say while they had to leave their possessions back home, they've carried their faith with them, something they hope will carry them through the dangerous storm.
I'm good.
You're good.
I ain't have no complaint and no worries. I'm fine. It was difficult for me. I just built a house, but I even believe, even coming to Nassau, that I believe when I go back I will need it there. I just have faith. And I believe if God can't talk to the sea and they obey, he could talk to the storm too.
That little boy is so cute. In other news, Tourism Minister Dionysia de Aguilar and Labor Minister Dion Folks have been appointed as NEMA's hurricane consultants. Folks spoke with our news while rushing into an emergency cabinet meeting this afternoon, where he gave an update on evacuations in the southern islands.
We have approximately 100 persons who are in our shelters. We're very pleased that the vast majority, some 900 plus of the persons that came in yesterday from the islands, were housed by either family members or friends. And that is an excellent indication of the Brothers Keepers Christian concept. The type of pressure that we thought that we would be under, the Red Cross, NEMA, and social services, we are not experiencing that. And that's a wonderful story.
Transport Minister Frankie Campbell says he's hoping his constituents in Southern Shores have taken the advice of government and sought shelter at higher ground if needed. Last October, residents of that area suffered extensive flooding as a result of storm surges.
The message is that life is more precious than anything else. So let us take the necessary steps to preserve life. Let us go to shelters. Let us go to family members. Let us seek higher ground. Whatever is left at the end of the day, with God's help, we'll rebuild if that is necessary. We are preparing for the worst and hoping for the best.
As the country prepares for that monster storm, police launched a new murder investigation. Officials say a man was found dead in a vehicle parked in the driveway of an unsuspecting family's home off Mackey Street this morning. Giorgio Bain has the details.
It was a gruesome scene inside the vehicle, which had blood-soaked seats, shards of glass scattered all over, and several blood-stained articles of clothing that appeared to be used to absorb blood from the victim's gunshot wound. He was reportedly shot in the head. Chief Superintendent Solomon Cash gave these details on the scene.
This morning, sometime around 8:30 a.m., the police received reports of a male who was left in a vehicle here with apparent gunshot wound to the head. Subsequently, police arrived at the scene, conducted an examination, and confirmed those reports.
Residents of the relatively quiet area of Hillside Estates gathered on the crime scene as police conducted their investigations. We're told the occupants of the home came out to investigate after a black Honda Stream pulled into their driveway, but no one exited the vehicle. Cash says that's when they made the discovery.
A relative came to this location to visit one of his relatives when they discovered a vehicle parked in the driveway, which was unusual. He alerted his relative. They did an examination of the vehicle and they found the lifeless body of a male who was lying in the front passenger seat of the vehicle. Police, they did an examination of the vehicle and they confirmed that there were apparent damage to the rear windshield of this vehicle, and the male had an apparent gunshot wound to the head.
The black Honda Stream license plate AL2623 was reportedly stolen at 6 this morning, according to Cash. He was asked whether the police are familiar with the victim.
We believe so far that the vehicle is stolen based on our preliminary inquiries. We do not know the motive for this latest homicide. However, we are appealing to members of the public who have any information that can assist us in probing this incident further, to feel free to contact the police at 919 or the Central Detective Unit at 502-9991 or 328-TIPS.
This latest killing brings the country's murder count so far this year to 99. Reporting for our news, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Still to come on our news, government clinics to close early tomorrow, plus Cable Bahamas initiates its storm response plan. So stay with us.